There are certain moments in life when one stands on the precipice, gazing into the depths of existence, questioning what lies beyond. The Bardo Todol, also known as the Tibetan Book of the Dead, invites us to explore this very precipice, the boundary between life and death, the seen and the unseen. This ancient text is not just a guide for the dying, it is a profound map for anyone who seeks to understand the nature of consciousness, existence, and transformation. The Bardo Todol is not merely a Buddhist scripture. It is a timeless invitation to explore the depths of our own minds and to embrace the mysteries of existence. The origins of the Bardo Todol trace back to the 8th century, steeped in the esoteric wisdom of Tibetan Buddhism. The title itself, Bardo Todol, translates to liberation through hearing in the Bardo, with Bardo meaning a transitional state or interval, and Todol meaning liberation or freedom. This name alone gives us a glimpse into the core of its teaching. The journey between death and rebirth is not a momentary experience, but a vast, transformative process, a space between life and death, a threshold where the mind is most susceptible to illusion, confusion, and awakening. It is said that Padmasambhava, the great Indian saint who brought Buddhism to Tibet, revealed the Bardo Todol to his disciple Yeshe Tsogyal. Padmasambhava was known for his ability to access the deepest truths of existence and to convey them in the most profound ways. His teachings, which included the Bardo tradition, were not just for monks or advanced practitioners, but were given with the intention of reaching all beings. This was the essence of his wisdom. The path to liberation is available to everyone, at every moment. The Bardo Todol is thus both an incredibly practical manual and a spiritual revelation. It presents a roadmap for navigating the states of existence, both life and death, in a way that fosters a deep connection with the eternal. However, to truly understand the significance of the Bardo Todol, it is essential to appreciate the Buddhist worldview, particularly its teachings on impermanence, suffering, and the nature of consciousness. Central to Buddhist philosophy is the concept of dukkha, or suffering, which arises due to our attachment to impermanent phenomena. In this context, death is not an isolated event, but a part of the continuous cycle of birth, life, death, and rebirth, known as samsara. For the Buddhist, the ultimate goal is to break free from this cycle, reaching a state of liberation called nirvana. The Bardo Todol offers guidance on how to do so by explaining the states between death and rebirth, which are seen as opportunities for liberation if one can recognize their true nature. The core of the Bardo Todol focuses on the idea of the bardos, which are transitional states or phases that all beings pass through. These bardos occur at different stages of life, death, and rebirth, and understanding them is key to navigating the process of transformation. The text describes 6 main bardos, each representing a distinct aspect of existence, and each offering unique opportunities for growth, liberation, or entrapment. To walk through these states with awareness is to walk the path of wisdom and freedom. The first bardo is the bardo of this life encompasses the entire range of our current existence, the very moment in which we are experiencing this world. In this bardo, we are fully immersed in our senses, thoughts, emotions, and desires. Most of us move through this phase unaware of the deeper nature of our experiences. We become identified with our thoughts, our body, and the world around us, forgetting that these are all transient phenomena. The Buddha taught that the root cause of suffering dukkha is our attachment to these impermanent things, the belief that they are permanent and unchanging, when in reality, they are like waves on the surface of the ocean, constantly rising and falling. In this bardo, we have an incredible opportunity to practice mindfulness and cultivate awareness. We can begin to recognize the fleeting nature of everything around us, from the thoughts that arise in our minds to the material possessions we accumulate. This awareness doesn't mean we detach from the world in a negative way. Rather, it means we begin to experience life without clinging to it or being controlled by our desires. By recognizing the impermanence of life, we can learn to live with more compassion, peace, and balance. The teachings of the Bardo Todol suggest that this bardo is not simply about surviving the trials of life, but embracing each moment as an opportunity for awakening. It is through the practice of mindfulness in this life that we begin to loosen the grip of ego, seeing the world as it truly is, not as a collection of permanent objects, but as an interdependent, ever-changing flow of experiences. Through this, we learn to live in harmony with the nature of existence, preparing ourselves for the deeper lessons the other bardos will offer. When we approach death, we enter into the second bardo, which is the bardo of dying, a stage that is often misunderstood in our culture. Most people are afraid of death, seeing it as an end. However, according to the Bardo Todol, dying is simply another transition, a necessary process through which the mind and body separate. It is not the end, but rather a step in the cyclical nature of existence, which Buddhism terms samsara. In this bardo, the physical senses begin to fade, and consciousness starts withdrawing from the world. The process can be both subtle and overwhelming, but for those who have prepared spiritually, it can also be a time of great opportunity for liberation. The Bardo Todol describes this phase as the dissolution of the elements of the body. The earth element dissolves first, followed by the water element, then fire, and finally air. As each element dissolves, a corresponding aspect of our physical and mental experience fades. During this time, the mind may encounter various signs or phenomena that reflect the inner state of the individual, including disturbing visions, sounds, and experiences. However, for the one who has practiced mindfulness and meditation, these phenomena can be recognized for what they are, temporary appearances, not the true nature of reality. In this bardo, the guidance of spiritual teachings, particularly those related to recognizing the impermanence of all things, can help ease the transition. The Bardo Todol encourages the dying person to remain calm and to hold on to the understanding that death is not a finality but a part of the endless cycle of transformation. If one can avoid fear and attachment during this process, they have the potential to enter the next phase with clarity and awareness, opening the door to liberation. Then there is the third bardo, which is the bardo of the moment of death, refers to the actual separation of consciousness from the body. This is a moment of intense transition, often marked by vivid and disorienting experiences. At this time, the dying person may experience what the Bardo Todol refers to as the clear light of death, a brilliant, luminous display that is said to represent the pure essence of reality, free from the distortions of ordinary perception. This light can be terrifying if one is not prepared, because it appears so vast and ungraspable, like stepping into the unknown. However, the Bardo Todol teaches that this clear light is not something to be feared. In fact, it is the ultimate truth, the nature of the mind itself. For those who have practiced mindfulness and meditation, recognizing this light can lead to liberation in the very moment of death, bypassing the cycle of rebirth entirely. Unfortunately, most beings are unaware of this clear light and are instead overwhelmed by fear or confusion, which clouds their ability to recognize their true nature. This is why the Bardo Todol emphasizes the importance of preparation. By meditating on the nature of mind and reality while alive, one can be better equipped to navigate this final moment. After the moment of death, the consciousness enters the fourth bardo, which is the bardo of becoming. In this phase, the individual's consciousness no longer resides in the physical body, but it is not yet reborn. The person enters an intermediate state that is neither fully alive nor fully dead. In the Bardo Todol, this state is described as a time of great potential, but also great danger. The consciousness of the deceased will encounter various forms of appearances, some pleasant, some terrifying, that reflect the accumulated karma of previous lives. These visions may include peaceful and wrathful deities, vast landscapes, and terrifying environments. All of these are manifestations of the mind's projections, created by the accumulated karmic impressions of past actions. This is the most significant bardo in terms of opportunity. If the individual can recognize these appearances as mere projections, not external realities, they can attain liberation. However, if the person remains attached to the visions or experiences fear, they will be carried further into the cycle of rebirth. In this phase, the guidance of the Bardo Todol becomes crucial. The text urges the practitioner to remain detached from the illusions and to recognize them as mind-made. Awareness during this phase can lead to liberation, or, at the very least, a smoother transition into the next stage of existence. The fifth bardo is the bardo of rebirth, marks the point when the consciousness of the deceased is drawn to a new physical form. This is the moment when an individual's karma pushes them toward a new birth. According to the Bardo Todol, at this stage, the consciousness is drawn to a womb or body that aligns with the karma from their previous lives. The karmic impulses are so strong that they often lead to a new life in the realm that corresponds to one's spiritual state, whether that is a human realm, an animal realm, or even a realm of suffering. In this bardo, the consciousness does not choose its rebirth consciously, but is instead carried by the momentum of its desires, attachments, and actions. However, if one has practiced deeply during their life, it is possible to enter the bardo of rebirth with more clarity and intention. The Bardo Todol teaches that if we can maintain awareness of the impermanence of all things and the law of karma, we can make the process of rebirth conscious, reducing the suffering associated with it. Finally, there is the sixth bardo, which is the bardo of dharmata, which represents the direct experience of the ultimate nature of reality. It is the final phase, beyond death and rebirth, where the consciousness merges with the primordial truth. In this state, one experiences the ultimate unity of all things, free from dualistic perceptions and the separation between self and other. The Bardo Todol suggests that only those who have reached a high level of spiritual realization can fully experience this bardo and recognize it for what it is, the eternal truth that lies beyond samsara. This bardo is rare and often fleeting for most beings, but it represents the ultimate goal of the spiritual path, to recognize the nature of one's own mind and merge with the boundless expanse of dharmata, the true nature of reality. This recognition is liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Throughout the Bardo Todol, there is a constant emphasis on the importance of mindfulness and awareness. The key to navigating these bardos is not to be caught in the illusions that arise, but to recognize them for what they are: fleeting, impermanent experiences shaped by the mind. The teachings of the text urge the reader to recognize their true nature, to understand that the experiences of the bardos, like all experiences in life, are empty of inherent existence. By cultivating a deep awareness of this truth, one can navigate the bardos with wisdom and ultimately achieve liberation from the cycle of samsara. What the Bardo Todol teaches is not just about death, but about life, It is a guide to understanding the workings of the mind and the nature of reality itself. The bardos offer us a glimpse into the impermanent, shifting nature of existence. Whether we are living or dying, each moment is an opportunity to awaken, to recognize the transient nature of all things, and to live in alignment with the true nature of the mind. The Bardo Todol invites us not to fear death, but to embrace life with awareness and clarity, preparing us to live with greater wisdom and compassion. Ultimately, the Bardo Todol is not simply a spiritual text. It is an invitation to awaken to the profound nature of existence. Through its teachings, we can come to see the wisdom of impermanence and the freedom that lies in letting go of our attachments. Whether we are confronting the moment of our death, grappling with the challenges of life, or seeking to understand the nature of our consciousness, the Bardo Todol offers us a roadmap to navigate the mysteries of existence. It reminds us that the path to liberation is always available, not in some distant future, but in each present moment. In this way, the Bardo Todol transcends the boundaries of culture, tradition, and time. It speaks to the universal human experience, urging us to explore the depths of our own consciousness and to recognize the impermanence that defines our lives. Through this process of awakening, we can experience true freedom, liberation from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, and the realization of our own enlightened nature. The Bardo Todol is not just a book about death. It is a guide to living with awareness, presence, and wisdom at every moment of our lives.